from my life that we need national EMR platforms across the Commonwealth.
We participate in the Commonwealth because we know we can achieve so much more by working together.
It requires a very different way of thinking and a regulatory regime that says we cannot leave the unconnected behind for another generation. We have to solve it like now.
The global reset has to be that we see the place and role of the agricultural sector on this continent, and the fact that we can actually use it to move economies forward.
It's impossible to become a digital country or a digital economy without laying the foundations of digital identity to every citizen of your country.
As we work to attain the same medical care for the same condition for everyone everywhere, we need to be aware of local context. Unless you know the supply chain logistics of each country, of each city, then you are setting yourself up to fail. And the Commonwealth and the Commonwealth Business Forum can do this, can help you out with this, can help businesses out with this.
As we keep building our Commonwealth community, it calls for greater partnerships, enhanced collaboration, and an urgency to come together.
Right, warm round of applause. Right, so we have to keep it moving. We've heard from him before. Who better to introduce the Right Honourable Boris Johnson than Lord Marland, who's the chair of the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council. Please, round of applause.
Well, isn't this fantastic? And so wonderful to be up here with Claire, our partner, who's done such a brilliant job. And what we've been through in the last few years. I mean, the horror of being locked up at home, all the loss of our loved ones, or not all of them, but some of them, and some of the terrible stories we have to tell about lockdown and COVID. And this is why this event has got such a positive vibe. Everyone's here to enjoy themselves. They're enjoying human contact. It's a fantastically friendly atmosphere, and I congratulate you all for being here and helping us through this last few days. Here's an exam question for you. What event brings together 1,700 people from 62 countries? Millionaires, multimillionaires, philanthropists, chairman of FIFA, chairman of COP, and also heads of state, plus, of course, royalty. The answer, of course, is the Commonwealth, and that's why we're here, and isn't it an incredible occasion that we are? Thank you, thank you. But thanks to you, thanks to you. I also want to thank Claire and her team, and my team for putting on this magical event. You've done such a good job, Claire, really unbelievable. You've made us all so welcome. As you said on your opening speech, welcome to Rwanda, welcome to the home of 1,000 hills, and welcome to this friendly community. And without that, this event would not have been such a success. So thank you very much, and thank you all for coming and making this such a terrific event. Prime Minister of Rwanda, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for hosting that dinner last night. It was a rather a noisy affair with a bit too much dancing for my like, but I'll forgive those on table 23 who were behaving very badly indeed. But the most exciting thing for me, because I haven't done it for a few years, is to introduce our own Prime Minister, who currently is Chair of Office until the handover tomorrow of the Commonwealth, who has always, in my experience, been a Commonwealth champion. And so it's wonderful, Boris, that you were able to join us today And please, may I invite you to the stage to say a few words.
Well, thank you very, very much, Jonathan. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, how absolutely wonderful to be here in Kigali for our long-delayed family reunion as the Commonwealth. And I'm sorry to say I missed the dancing last night, Jonathan. Very good to see you strutting your funky stuff in the way that you were. Let's hear it for Jonathan Marland on the dance floor. And by the way, the weather is absolutely lovely here in Rwanda today, but I've got to tell you, here's an amazing statistic. It's actually hotter in London. I don't know what. Also, my staff just told me. This is a very, very timely meeting. As Jonathan has just said, we've all come out of the misery of the COVID lockdowns, and look at what is going on in the world today. Unfortunately, we still see economic pressures, and we're seeing spikes in the cost of energy, spikes in the cost of food and of fertilizer. I was talking about this to Paul Kagame just now. But what if there was a miracle fertilizer, a fertilizer of business that grew your business, that expanded your profits and cut your costs by 21%? There is such a fertilizer. And I'll tell you the ingredients. It's perfectly harmless. It's organic. There are no phosphates, no nitrates. It won't cause algal bloom. I'll tell you what the ingredients are. It's a common language. It's a familiar sense of our legal and administrative systems. It's a shared sense of mutual trust between us. And that fertilizer is called the Commonwealth. And it knocks, I can prove it, that fertilizer knocks 21% off the cost of trade between Commonwealth members. That's 21% bigger profits if you do deals between the Commonwealth, 21% efficiencies without the expense of management consultants. And now is the time, my friends, to turbocharge those advantages, because over the next 5 years, the Commonwealth's total GDP is forecast to rise by nearly 50% to $19.5 trillion. And these are the markets, super fertilized markets, that will power growth and prosperity and create jobs in our countries, and at the same time help to ease those pressures that we all face on the costs of living. So we are going ahead. And in the UK, we're striking free trade agreements across the whole of the Commonwealth. We've done Australia, we've done New Zealand. We're going to do a deal with India by Diwali. We've signed free trade or economic partnerships with 33 of our Commonwealth friends so far, and through the Trans-Pacific Partnership, we're aiming for new deals with Malaysia and Brunei. By the way, it's fantastic to see the birth of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Isn't that going to be a wonderful thing? And it's going to be the biggest in the world. The biggest in the world. 1.3 billion people, promising to lift 30 million people out of poverty and generate $450 billion for African nations, which, by the way, is far, far, far more than Africa could ever receive in development aid. And I massively support that new Africa Free Trade Area. I remember the UK helped to found the European Free Trade Area many years ago, which we then got taken over by something called the European Union. But never mind that. I don't necessarily advise, by the way, that you turn the African Free Trade Area into a single currency, but I leave that wholly to you, and that will be a matter entirely for Africa. But we want to support this project, and we're backing the new secretariat in Accra. And as African countries remove trade barriers from their borders, we're making it easier to sell to the UK, because on the 6th of July, we're launching a new preferential trade system for 65 developing countries, including Rwanda and 17 other Commonwealth members. liberalizing our tariffs, getting rid of those pointless tariffs, that, you know, the tariffs that are totally vexatious, that cost more to collect than the revenues you get from them, abolishing the nuisance tariffs, they exist, and improving our rules of origin to make it easier for all our countries to benefit. And what I feel so strongly about the Commonwealth is it's not just about the imports and the exports, it's about the partnerships that we build. It's about doing more together to ensure that everyone prospers from the new green industrial revolution. And I saw some of you, I'm proud to say, at the Africa Investment Summit in London in 2020. Remember that, just before COVID struck, a moment of real optimism. Well, I want you to know we're doing the same again next year, and I hope to see you again in London next year. And it's great to announce that the British International Investment is putting £160 million into hydropower in Africa, creating 180,000 jobs, including here in Rwanda, while at the same time cutting carbon emissions, generating electricity for 3 million people. Many, many African countries. I've mentioned the sun in London today. It's exceptional. I hope you'll understand that this is, I'm not bragging about the sun in London. It's not as consistent as it is here in Africa. And many African countries are blessed with the ability to power economies entirely by hydro and solar and wind energy. Incredible fact. Kenya. Uhuru told me this, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, he's got enough energy himself, but Kenya gets 90% of its electricity from renewable sources already, and they're aiming for 100% by 2030. And I see a fantastic future for all of us in these initiatives, for all of us. And we, with our Clean Green initiative in the UK, want to be the partner of choice for our African friends as you transform millions of lives with modern infrastructure, meeting the highest standards of transparency and environmental protection. And it's because free enterprise generates the resources for better health and education, which is what we're trying to do, better outcomes for our people, that here in Rwanda, infant mortality is down by almost 80% since the year 2000. 9 out of 10 people have health insurance in this country. Virtually every child goes to school. And that is the kind of future that we want to build together. And all I will say to you in conclusion, my friends, is we in the UK have the technology. The City of London certainly has the finance. The government that I'm proud to lead has the will. And our wonderful, wonderful Commonwealth, that great institution, has the super fertilizer to be sprinkled across this extraordinary grouping of countries, and above all, to help to forge a new Africa. Sharing your optimism that the people of this continent and every member of the Commonwealth can thrive and prosper from free trade and free enterprise. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful, fantastic Chogam, and I look forward to seeing you later. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Right Honourable Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson.